Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Easter edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk, starting off with Corcel, where we've got the rising trend channel that you can draw from back in August, top of the channel there pointing towards the 2.2 pence level. That could be the target as soon as the end of next month on a reasonable end of day close or a weekly close above 1.4 pence, which has clearly been the resistance for the shares since the summer. This stage, only an end of day close back below the floor of the channel. That's around the 1.1 pence level, really delaying the upside scenario. But it looks as though we've finally done enough to get the shares on their way. Stock where there's little doubt in terms of the positive trend that the shares have had since the beginning of December is Dev Clever, and the standout as far as Thursday's price action was the way that we opened at the low and closed at the high of the day, so pretty impressive. That normally leads to decent follow through over the next day or 2 days in terms of trading sessions. And we're looking towards the top of that December trend channel at 50 pence, which could be hit as soon as the end of next month and with a fair win, maybe even by the end of this month. Stop loss at the moment back below the floor of the channel at 32 pence. So above 32, looking for 50 pence on Dev Clever. Stock which was quite a big winner last week against a rather sad looking market was Echo Energy. The breakout there really through that January resistance line there, 0.75. I think we looked at the stock at 0.85, suggesting that as long as we were above 0.8 or at least above 0.75, I suppose, we could hit 1.2 pence. In fact, we hit the top of that channel from July pretty quickly. The view now is that while we're above Thursday's low, we are looking at a potential best case scenario target as high as the late November resistance line projection at 2 pence. And that could be seen over the course of April, but we've got to stay above 1.1 pence really. Might be able to risk down towards a penny, but ideally there's no end of day close back below 1.1 pence. That would be the best thing for all concerned. Moving along to a stock which I only look at occasionally, but probably should have looked at it a bit more. And we had one of our favorite setups, the gap through resistance, the unfilled gap through resistance, which was here at the beginning of January. So I suppose could have been in on the stock towards the 7th of January there, sometime during that session, once it was clear that the gap wasn't going to be broken. The gap there around 23 pence. And since then, decent price action, sideways consolidation. We've actually hit the target that we had before of 40 pence, hence the inclusion today. And it looks as though we're going in a steeper trajectory now, up towards the top of a rising trend channel from September, as high as 60 or even 65 pence. By the end of April. So looking very strong indeed, I suppose. Maybe from my scant knowledge of the US gaming industry, the gaming realms may be a winner associated with that. Stock which is also looking quite healthy at the moment is Getech. We had our spike in February and came back quite painfully, I suppose 50% plus 60% retracement from the best levels there. But a decent move there on Thursday. With a key reversal to the upside. Key reversal off support, normally a pretty good sign that a rebound is here to stay, and above 24 pence, and the broken February resistance line looking towards the top of the rising trend channel from January, as high as 50 pence by the end of next month. If you're looking for some further evidence of strength in the stock, maybe wait for an end of day close through the 50-day line at 27 pence, but looks as though with Thursday's price action and that trend line break, the bulls have done enough. Another stock which normally wouldn't make it, but because it's Easter and there's fewer stocks to look at, and we've already looked at many of them already. We've got Inspired Energy. The reason for the inclusion today is the gap to the upside. Second gap well, we had a gap last month, but that was filled, and actually we fell below that. But current situation is that we've got a new gap now and above the 50-day moving average at 16 pence and the floor of the rising trend channel from the end of last year. We're looking to 28 pence. And the top of a rising trend channel, that resistance line there from June. And that could be seen as soon as the end of next month. But upside valid only while we hold above 16 pence on an end of day close basis for Inspired Energy. Stock which seems to be getting stronger and stronger by the day. And it's had its fans at much lower levels, but really the action has started so far this year in 2021. And great key reversal to the upside there for Cadence Minerals, bouncing off old resistance, that mid-March resistance around 19 pence. While we're above 19, looking for as high as 31 or 32 pence over the next couple of weeks, could be sooner. If you are a fan of the stock, and there are plenty of those around, it may be that you would be targeting the line of resistance I'm just drawing now, which is heading towards 40 pence plus by the end of next month. But 30 pence plus during the course of April, and up to 40 pence plus maybe by the end of next month, and it could be sooner given the way that looks as though the logjam here at Cadence is finally over. Moving along to a very obscure stock, but one where I'm making a slightly more creative call than normal. Here it looks as though Logistics Developments, the development group rather, is in a broadening triangle. That's I don't have much evidence for that, but there's a line of support there from February, which runs, you can run through the low of Thursday at 10.5 pence, above 10 pence really, looking for the top of that triangle as high as 24 pence by the end of next month. I suppose if you're cautious, you wait for an end of day close back above the initial support we had there at 14.25 pence, both in February and in March. So an end of day close above 14.25 to confirm that we're in a potential recovery situation for logistics development. Big name from the past, I wonder if it will be a name for the future. We've got Napster Group here. Here another possible broadening triangle rebound, so not much to go on at all here, but just that key reversal to the upside on Thursday, off the low, so that does suggest that some decent buying interest has come in, and more importantly perhaps suggests that the bears have been caught off guard. While there's no end of day close back below Thursday's floor at 2 pence, looking towards 3.2 pence at the top of that March triangle, and that could be seen by the end of this month, or perhaps a lot sooner. Stock of the day on Thursday, after a slightly slow start, was Oilex, and I suppose also it was slightly disappointing that we didn't close nearer to the 0.4 level and the previously ambitious target for the shares. March resistance line projection just below 0.4. Same message as before, though, I suppose, while we're above the February peak at 0.23, looking towards 0.4 in the best case scenario target at the moment at 0.5. Interesting that the shares are still much lower than they were before they struck the latest deal announced during the week. On to a stock which has been a poster child for gaps to the upside, unfilled gaps to the upside. So here we've got the same kind of setup that we had on Gaming Realms, gap through resistance for PetroNeft, and buying the following day, once it was reasonably clear that there wasn't going to be a fill of that gap, around 0.9 pence. You had a very good run up towards 3.5 pence. Painful retracement back to the 50-day line, but nothing too unusual. That's also the floor of a rising trend channel from September, and while we're above 1.9 pence and the 50-day line, looking for a retest of last month's resistance at 3.5 pence. Be cautious on the shares, maybe wait for a break of that March resistance line at 2.3, let's call it, but it looks as though enough has been done there to give us a reasonable chance of retesting the 3.5 pence zone. Finishing off with Rockfire, which again is slightly more ambitious call than usual, not a momentum trade, more of a bottom fishing trade. A couple of points to note here, or maybe 3 points to note here. The first is that we've had a bear trap rebound from below the 0.8 initial low March, so that's one positive there. We've also bounced off the floor of a rising trend channel, one that's been in place since October 2019, so that's looking pretty good as well. And then the final plus point, bullish divergence in the RSI window, so we had a lower low to start April, but the RSI actually was equal with the low in March, so bullish divergence could be the thing which pushes the shares higher and also soothes those who have doubt about the stock. End of day close above the 0.85 pence level early next week should easily be enough to give the shares the move towards the 200-day moving average at 1.09 pence by the end of April. That's it from me today. More updates during next week.